Deion Sanders throws subtle shade at Mike Tomlin with strong message on Shedeur as NFL faces $100 million consequences. Well, dads might not always show, but they are the ones fighting quite a battle when their kid is in trouble. That's exactly what Deion Sanders did for Shedeur Sanders when things went south. Remember when an anonymous NFL quarterback coach called out Shedeur's attitude, giving him arrogant and brash tags? Coach Prime didn't hesitate to fire back. We like to call that stuff out, though. I know who it is. You're going to make me call him out. And when a report pointed out that Shedeur gave a bad impression in the draft interview, he defended Shedeur against it, calling it, now that was a lie. Even now, he is doing the same thing, hyping his son's caliber that got buried behind all the drama. Well, dads might not always show, but they are the ones fighting quite a battle when their kid is in trouble. That's exactly what Deion Sanders did for Shedeur Sanders when things went south. Remember when an anonymous NFL quarterback coach called out Shedeur's attitude, giving him arrogant and brash tags? Coach Prime didn't hesitate to fire back. We like to call that stuff out, though. I know who it is. You're going to make me call him out. And when a report pointed out that Shedeur gave a bad impression in the draft interview, he defended Shedeur against it, calling it, now that was a lie. Even now, he is doing the same thing, hyping his son's caliber that got buried behind all the drama. Now, one such team might be the Steelers, who were rooting high for him with a clear need at the QB position. Their HC, Mike Tomlin, even had a deep admiration for Shedeur Sanders' skills, and he even made a visit to him at Pro Day in Colorado. But when the time came, the Steelers passed on Sanders and took defensive lineman Jack Sawyer onto their team. After this, many started speculating that things didn't go well during their private workouts or meetings. However, that wasn't the case. Well, Tomlin had nothing but appreciation for Shedeur Sanders. I think the things that stood out were evident. There's a toughness there that doesn't get talked about enough. There's a competitive spirit there that doesn't get talked about enough. I know he's very talented and made a lot of plays for his university and his team, but the intangible qualities displayed on tape were impressive to me. But then what went wrong during the drafts? Even Deion Sanders Jr. made a cryptic comment, "You tell me," along with a clip of Tomlin's interview. And now Coach Prime's subtle hype for him is adding another layer to it. However, Shedeur Sanders isn't letting anything pull him down as his focus remains straight on taking the Browns to the Super Bowl. "I'm trying to bring Cleveland to Super Bowl," he declared. But his aspirations are not limited to the football field. Sanders wants to help the city's young people, saying, "Off the field, I want to bring more hope and positivity to the city, and connecting with young people is one of the best ways to do that." So he isn't letting any drama come in his way of success. And the result is pretty evident as NFL Rookie Watch hit IG, giving an exciting Brown QB1 update, which Shedeur's been wanting to hear for ages now. Shedeur Sanders reportedly has a legitimate chance at being the Browns' QB1 for their Week 1 game of the regular season. Several NFL scouts reportedly believe Sanders is the most talented QB in the Browns' QB room, but will have to show he understands the intricacies of an NFL playbook. Looks like things are finally changing for him. But then again, drama and controversy never leave Shedeur Sanders' path. Shedeur Sanders' draft snub gets a $100 million war cry. Well, things got weird for Shedeur Sanders on some different level, and this time it's not a critic but a fan in denial to see his favorite player fall. A Colorado Buffaloes fan is suing the NFL for $100 million, claiming emotional distress over Shedeur Sanders' surprising fall to the 5th round of the 2025 NFL Draft. The lawsuit, filed anonymously as John Doe, alleges the NFL and media unfairly damaged Sanders' reputation, causing the plaintiff significant psychological harm. Sanders, once projected as a first-rounder, was picked by the Cleveland Browns at number 144, shocking many fans who felt personally affected. The suit, obtained by USA Today, claims the NFL's actions and media coverage caused the plaintiff's emotional distress. A Georgia resident and avid Colorado football fan, Doe attended the 2023 Colorado TCU game, where Sanders threw for 510 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a win. Doe claims negative media coverage of Sanders' post-game interview, portraying him as arrogant and unprepared, unfairly damaged his reputation and draft stock. This narrative that has unjustly harmed his reputation and potential as a player. John's claims also include Sanders' tanked interviews, wasn't prepared, and was too cocky. Looks like the NFL did harm a fan sentiment real deep that he alleges NFL teams colluded to suppress Sanders, violating the Sherman Antitrust Act, and that racial discrimination under the Civil Rights Act also played a role in his fifth-round draft position. He further claims the NFL misled consumers about the draft process, breaching consumer protection laws. The decisions made regarding Sanders may have been influenced by racial discrimination, violating his rights as a player. And for all that, John Doe seeks $100 million in punitive damages. However, Shedeur Sanders himself isn't bothered much by the entire draft fallout. Rather, he is embracing his chance and focusing on his development. The opportunity to see the real me and not stuff that might not be true, Shedeur said. But the lawsuit, which was filed in a U.S. District Court in Atlanta, has yet to elicit a response from the NFL at the time of publishing. As this story develops, more details will emerge, but for now, there's a QB battle emerging in Cleveland between Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, with analysts finally hyping Shedeur to be the future QB1 and others giving flowers to Gabriel. Now, let's wait and see who finally gets to show some pro skills on Brown's field. Shiloh Sanders confirms running to Coach Prime after getting undrafted as he clears rumors on his firing. Shiloh Sanders was initially considered a fringe day 3 prospect at best going into the draft. But when not a single NFL team took a gamble on the 25-year-old safety with limited potential, Tampa Bay decided to rescue him by signing him to a standard undrafted rookie deal. Thank you, God, for everything. And thank you, Buccaneers Instagram handle, for believing in me, he had written on Instagram. Of course, the team won't face much of a financial risk with this move, but it is Shiloh who will face a tough journey to make it to their roster. Considering the team doesn't have the best safety depth, Shiloh could get in on the 53-man roster if he plays well in camp. But if that doesn't work out, he could contribute to the special teams. While these are possibilities he can think about today, not getting his name called during the draft was an experience he would certainly love to forget. What made his plight worse before the draft was his injury. A sixth-year safety at Colorado, Shiloh entered the 2024 season as a returning starter but missed time early with an arm injury. He returned to appear in 10 games, finishing with 67 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, 2 pass breakups, 2 fumble recoveries, a forced fumble, a defensive touchdown, and no interceptions. But on film, Sanders looked like a functional box safety that he was disciplined against the run, quick to diagnose underneath routes, and willing to deliver contact. Still, his projection at the next level was murky, and his fears came true. So, what did he do when he was left undrafted? The only person he could think about talking to was his dad, Deion Sanders. In a YouTube short by Fair Catch, Shiloh was heard saying, "So after the draft, I was sitting there counting all the draft picks like from the 7th round, seeing if I would get a call. You don't really know if you're going to get the call or not. They just call randomly and be like, oh, we're going to pick you next. So I didn't get the call. So now my brain goes into like, well, DG, let me go? Let me go to my dad." While Coach Prime may have been the saving grace for his son during the difficult time, the latter was also forced to do something unexpected in the pursuit of a better future. For the past week, one big piece of news coming from the Sanders household, besides the brothers' NFL destinations, has found the community captivated. Shiloh had fired his dad. But how true is it? Well, hear it from the horse's mouth itself. Everybody was laughing because I said I had to get a new agent, that I fired my dad. I didn't fire him, bro, he declared, setting the record straight about his live stream before Shedeur was even drafted by the Cleveland Browns, where he said, "Dad was our agent, but that hasn't been working out too good. So today I had to sign with an agent." I was a simple joke. But still, critics argue that Deion Sanders' association was a factor behind their draft stock taking hits. Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio added more fuel to the fire 2 days ago by saying, Deion's decision to serve as agent for both sons arguably did them a disservice. Though it was apparent that Shiloh was joking, he indeed signed with agent Drew Rosenhaus to bolster his rep. Regardless, Shiloh further opened up. So, officially, I went undrafted. I think the Patriots had the last pick. My phone didn't ring. I'm like, DG bro, let me go get onto the team. Let me talk to Coach Prime. Let me go? As soon as I walked out the room, the agent called me. He was like, hey, the Buccaneers, they got a contract for you, bro. Among the Sanders, a Rosenhaus emerged as the hero. After the 25-year-old signed with Rosenhaus, a powerhouse agent known for his aggressive negotiations and deep NFL connections, which proved pivotal, things seemed to work out for the player. Despite no initial interest from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his outreach changed the course of Shiloh's career. Buccaneers GM Jason Licht admitted that, after the draft, the agent called them up. After the draft, his agent reached out if we would be interested, Todd Bowles, and I looked at each other, nodded and said, "Yeah, let's do it." Todd said Coach Prime called him and thanked him for bringing Shiloh in and giving him a fair shot. Licht added further. Shiloh, too, is thankful for the opportunity, but this is just the start. Yet, a Buccaneers great had some advice for Shedeur Sanders that can be vital for Shiloh as well. Days ago, Super Bowl MVP Dexter Jackson stated how he was supposed to be drafted much higher back in the day than where he ended up. And so he hoped Shedeur would use it as fuel after his downward spiral in the 2025 NFL Draft. He should have a chip on his shoulder, and he should write down the name of every quarterback who went ahead of him and put that list on the back of his bedroom door, Jackson opined. He wants to see the rookie QB outwork all the other guys, and perhaps Shiloh can follow this too.